Alright, time now is 8:44 a.m. in the morning on July 15th. Yeah. I slept from 4:05 to 8:30. So that's 4.5 hours. That's not bad at all. That's half an hour more than yesterday. Yeah, though I wish I could sleep more. So I really hope that I do go to bed at around like before 4 tonight, hopefully. I'm not going to church tomorrow. I'm sleeping all day. Um so yeah, today is going to be another semi-interesting day. Thomas is going to pick me up in about 15 minutes. We're going to go to his place and yeah. And we're going to film a couple podcast episodes. Hopefully in the middle I would get the chance to eat lunch outside. Maybe McDonald's, lots of calories, big burger, and just munch, munch, munch. And then afterwards, there's Theo's podcast. And then the second half of the day should be extremely interesting because at around 4, hopefully, I and Theo will get to the Bundy campus where we will hold the interviews for Dominic, Nick, and Theo. After today, we will have interviewed 7 people, which is extremely impressive. So yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then today the interviews will end very late, at least 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And then I'll come back home and yeah, I'll have dinner and that's pretty much it. So today's pretty much packed completely. And yeah, that's that. Pretty interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I guess thinking about I'm thinking about how I'm not invited and I'm ignored and abandoned. It's kind of it saddens me, but also it's a good thing because I don't need any more of Benny and Ariel kissing every 5 minutes and Leslie. It's a good thing, I guess. A door closes and another one opens. That's what they say. So, USC, I hope I find some interesting folk there. For real. And I feel like USC will be way easier for me to find interesting folk actually because USC just has more people, period. So that should be fun. Fun as beans, really. Fun as beans. Yeah. Yeah, and I still hope this math lab job pulls through. I did pull through, but I'm just so paranoid that I think that even though I got the job, maybe I still don't got the job. I'm just that paranoid.
So how have you guys been?
How are you?
Working with 2 jobs with hole.
True.
But yeah, I know that you two hate each other, so thank you for, I would say, more like being connected to who you are and be connected to like self-centered, like know yourself. And I think that that's also like a way of being spiritually connected to something, in this case. 你会不会加我
Get out, Michael.
Had anyone in G2?
That's dangerous, Colombo.
But this happened over a course of like 10,000 years. It's like
some kind of inspirational
I
quote.
on Discord, it was so funny. I saw him. I was like, oh, Dominic.
All right, I don't know why I have no storage space. Time now is 12:01 after midnight. On July 16th, and holy smokes, let's talk about today. Today is one of the most interesting days around for the most interesting day, and I know I said that yesterday, but today I think topped it off even more, which is crazy because yesterday was so dense and I had so much to talk about. But today I think topped it off even harder, which is insane. I don't know how that happened, but it's pretty fucking insane. Um so I don't know. I just feel like it's just no friend syndrome, not no friend syndrome. It's just like the moment I don't have plans and I stay at home the whole day, I will get sad. But then the last 3 days I hung out with people and suddenly it's fine again. I feel less bad right now. So let's talk about today. The first half and the second half. The first half is me going to Thomas's place, and the second half is the interview with Theo, Nick, and Dominic. Sounds simple, but oh boy, it is extremely complicated. So I had like a little bit more than 4 hours of sleep. Actually, maybe 4.5 hours, but it's still pretty bad. Plus the fact that yesterday I slept for less than 4. So I'm really tired today the whole day. I decided, no, I didn't eat breakfast because no matter what I eat, it's gonna suck. Because I barely had any time to eat breakfast, so it needs to be something quick. And if it ain't cookies, I don't even have cookies. Then it's something cold. And I don't know what's going on with my stomach lately, but okay, what the hell. But if I eat something cold in the morning, I will get stomach aches, so I can't do that. So, yeah, I just ate 2 Oreos and then I fucking bounced. So Thomas picked me up sharp at 9 and we drove to his place. And that is, before I left, I found out that my camera was not charged. Something went wrong and it stuck at 19%. So after I got to Thomas's place, I charged the camera and we prepared for Thomas's first interview out of the 2 interviews. And his first interview was with Mateusz, the Polish guy. And he was nice, even though a semester ago he acted a little cold towards me. Just tiny bit. Maybe it's just because he's Polish. I don't know. But yeah, there goes the interview, and honestly, it's pretty interesting. Even though he seems like a very bland guy, but it's really interesting to hear him talk about Poland and Polish culture. And he spent a good chunk of the interview talking about how his grandparents escaped from the communists and like communism is so bad, and how he's so patriotic to America, how he thinks America is the greatest country in the world and 100,000 times better than Poland, and how America is a dream place, and he celebrated July 4th, and I'm just thinking like, okay. And he also talked about how much he is a Christian and Catholic. He's Catholic, and these crazy Christmas customs. He talked about how like, in Christmas you eat this on the day before, and you eat this on the next day, and then you have to do this ritual and all these things. And I'm just thinking, oh yeah, how do we celebrate Christmas in Hong Kong? We eat good food. We don't even celebrate it nearly as hard as America. And of course, because America is a Western country, but then you get Poland, which is like hardcore Catholic. So yeah, it's pretty wild. But never in a million years. I mean, a few years ago when I was young, like when I was, I don't know, 15, 16, I would, imagine myself traveling to weird faraway places that nobody talks about to explore different cultures. And I thought about Poland and how like weird it must have been. Like people speak Polish, but now we have just Mateusz talking about Polish culture and everything, and it's just such an interesting way to look at how far I've come. Um, Again, and all of this insanity, and I haven't interacted with a single Hong Konger because I don't even need this anymore. But anyways, that's that. And then Mateusz left, and I was hungry as fuck. And so Thomas drove me to Chick-fil-A. Thomas didn't eat anything. He said he eats one meal per day. So I'm like, fine. Oh, before Matyush came, him, me, and Liam hopped onto a call where I and Thomas are together in person. We hopped onto a call to look at some self-tapes, some audition tapes for Thomas's short film, which are pretty interesting, pretty awkward, but okay, sure, whatever. Okay, anyways, Thomas drove me Chick-fil-A, so I got myself Chick-fil-A. This is the first time I've tried a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and it's all right. That leads to something weird that I'm going to mention at the very end of this video. But it's all right. Came back home, and Theo, the Italian man, is scheduled for 2 p.m. I think, or scheduled for 1 p.m. and at 12:36 or something, he already arrived at Thomas's apartment, and so we had to immediately go back and bring Theo in. So we went in, and I eat my sandwich. Meanwhile, because Theo's also trying to audition to be an actor in Thomas's short film. Which is hilarious because one of the characters that he's auditioning for is an American white guy, and Theo is Italian with a very thick Italian accent. So I don't know where did that come from, and the acting is not very great, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, it was really weird. And one really strange oddball moment is in Thomas's story. The American character is a politician who is being spied on by a hot Chinese girl. And the politician fell in love with the hot Chinese girl and asks the girl, "Can you marry me? Or will you marry me?" in Mandarin. And so Thomas immediately asked me, "How do you say 'will you marry me' in Mandarin?" And I'm like, "I don't know. 你会不会嫁我 or something." That's just my guess. I don't even know. It's my third language. Leave me alone. And then and Tom was like, "All right, you know what? It's fine. Let me just like text Leslie right now." And like, whoa, because like again, like to both Theo and Thomas, they don't know what I went through with Leslie. The girl fucking psychologically tormented me. So whenever I hear her name, I'm just like, like Vietnam flashbacks. So and the way Thomas's text, he doesn't fucking type. He talks into his phone and it's speech to text. So he just pulls up, opens text. "Hey Leslie, how do you say 'will you marry me' in Mandarin?" out of nowhere. And Leslie hasn't responded, obviously, but it's just so silly. I laughed. It's so psychologically tormenting for me and so silly at the same time. And what's even crazier, so Theo actually tried to say that phrase in Mandarin, and it's so fucking ironic because last October Leslie had a crush on Theo, last March I had a crush on Leslie, past tense unfortunately. And it's just this crazy ass love triangle happening, and now it's all fallen upon this stupid script by Thomas, and it's the goofiest way to end things off. So yeah, it's pretty weird. But anyways, Theo also was like, "Oh, Enoch, you're here. Oh yeah, by the way, the interview at 4 p.m. at the Bundy campus." And I'm like, "Yeah." And Theo got interested. Theo's like, "Oh, so fill me in. What is the interview about?" And I tried to go easy, because I don't 100% trust Theo, so I just said, "Oh, it's just about film 33, some afterthoughts, some quick thoughts, And Theo's like, "Oh, it's going to be so much more than quick." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, we should, that's why, we're giving you a lot of time." And Theo was like, "Actually, I need to go at 5:30 p.m. And the thing is, 4 to 5:30 seems like a lot of time. It's 1 hour and 30 minutes. But the thing is, we're probably going to need more time for Theo. And we probably can't arrive there at 4 p.m. sharp. Because another thing is my camera needs charging. I brought my own USB line. So there's that. So again, the interview went on. Theo talked a lot about how European culture is way more relaxed than in America. America and everything's really stressed and everyone's in competition. And in my head, I'm just like, well, if you survive one day in if you live in Hong Kong for one day, you'll probably not survive because in Hong Kong it's even worse. In East Asia, it's even worse. Like people are even more cold-blooded towards each other, and people are even more intense. Like America's child's play, okay? But anyways, afterwards he did his self-tape. He did his audition, and it was awkward. Thomas was being weirdly particular about his acting, but then at the same time, Theo is very relaxed, and he's a big guy. He's a Chad. He has a Chad energy, and Thomas couldn't win that over, so it was very awkward for him, but it was whatever. I went along. It was a little awkward too because I had to read the lines of the Chinese girl, and at some point Theo like started molesting me, like rubbing my shoulder, and I was like, it was awkward because people touching me, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, that happened. But a little bit later, it definitely got way less awkward. So my camera got charged to 60 something percent, and I'm like, you know what, fuck it. And I got a portable charger, which sort of works from a camera as well. So I charged my camera while I put that in Theo's trunk. So yes, Theo drives now, a white Fiat, and it's a really nice 2-passenger car, and he drove me. But right before that, suddenly Tova texted me saying, oh shit, the Bundy campus is closed. And I'm like, what? So how about the main campus then? And he's like, no, I'm sure it's closed. And I'm like, how about the outside? And he said, don't worry, I'm going to CMD to check. And I'm like, CMD? So I called Tova. On the phone. And Tova's at CMD when I called her. And he's like, shh, Enoch. Okay, so I'm at CMD now. And I'm like, Tova, please be careful. CMD is not where you want to be. It's a dangerous place. And he's like, there's no one here. And I'm like, are you sure? Is Drew and Leslie here? Is Cuchillo here? Because if Cuchillo here, we're fucked. If, it's Carly and Ben here. Carly and Benny. And then Tova walked up to the second floor to the editing rooms. And she thought she's okay. Suddenly, Carly shows up out of nowhere. And then Benny showed up. And I could literally hear Benny's voice on the phone live. And I could hear Tova being shocked. And Tova immediately cut off the line. Immediately hung up. And I was like, whoa, shit. And Theo saw me. And I put it on speaker because I trust both Thomas and Theo. Honestly, I don't trust either. But it's whatever. It's for dramatic purposes. And then a little bit later, Tova called me back saying, holy fuck. So the story goes, Benny was like, Tova, what are you doing here? And Tova got super nervous. And she was like, oh, I'm just location scouting for Enoch. Which is a really weird answer. And when she told me that, I'm like, what the fuck? You mentioned my name? Don't mention me. It just said, oh, I'm here to like organize BTS footage or something. And Tova's like, no, it's fine. And then Benny's like, what does that mean? And Tova's like, oh, Enoch, he's weirdly particular about places. And Carly was just standing there not saying a thing, apparently. And then Benny got a little upset, and Benny knows that Tova's lying. And Benny's like, well, why didn't you include me in this project? What's going on? So I guess Benny doesn't really know what's happening, but Benny sort of vaguely has an idea that I and Tova are teaming up for something. So yeah, that's really fucking crazy. Thank God it's not Zach or Sitlali or anything like that. It's good that it's Benny and Carly, because eventually this project will include them, but right now it's not a very great idea. So, yeah, there's that. Jesus Christ. So anyways, I this is part of the plan, but I didn't want this to happen this early. So I wanted people to know that I'm making a documentary and that I am taking charge and I'm on the offense. But I don't want people to know this early. Next semester hasn't even begun. So that was very fucking crazy. And Tova was like, "Oh my god, this is the scariest moment of my life." I'm like, "I told you, CMD's scary." And Tova's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have listened. I was naive." So I immediately texted Dominic and Nick to meet up at the main campus outside the library. So that happened. Tova arrived at the main campus. Nick arrived with his girlfriend, and then Dominic arrived, and while I and Theo in Theo's car drove to the main campus for about half an hour, and before we started, Theo already started automatically ranting to me about the class. Because it's the first time I've seen him since the end of Ends and Means, even though I actually saw him one more time at the main campus, literally on the next Monday, for like 3 seconds. But yeah, it's pretty wild. And he started ranting to me. He's like, you know, Crucio got Ava's number, and right after that, Crucio showed me his phone, and I'm like, what? When did that happen? And then Theo talked about how Ariel, like Crucio told Ariel to not tell jokes and make fun, like have fun with me, and like they told Ariel to not help out. Like, it's so weird what the fuck's going on. And then he started ranting about how it's not a student's project, the overnight shoots, the students had no power, it's slave labor. And he actually got serious. It wasn't even awkward. Like, I can tell Theo's serious, and it's like, oh. And I explained to him, like, okay, this documentary, like, I'm not even gonna hide at this point. I'm like, yeah, in the last 4 months, it's just not cool that we spent so much time and effort to do something that sucks. So I feel like, I know everyone's trying to move on from this drama, but I want to at least do something meaningful first. And Theo's like, oh, I totally agree. So right now I told Theo the fundamental philosophy of this project, and he's completely sold now. I wish I could say that to Red and Gustavo and Trinity Gang, because if I really tell them the real core of this project, maybe it could in turn convince them. But yeah, we arrived at the main campus, and by that time, it was already 4:40. And mind you, Theo has to leave at 5:30. And we still have to, like, set up the camera and everything. The hard out is like 6 p.m. I'm using terms like hard out right now. Fuck. But yeah, so we had only a little time. So we ended up only interviewing Theo for about half an hour. But it was fucking crazy. Because when I arrived, it's Tova, Nick's girlfriend, and Dominic, and I was just thinking, oh my god, this is real, and it's just me and Theo. And I'm just crazy. Had we decided to go to CMD to film, imagine. And also Naja showed up at the very end of today, again, even though I saw her yesterday. She showed up at the very end of today, and to help us do sound. And just imagine if me, Nick, Naja, Theo, Nick, and Dominic just pull up to CMD out of nowhere and just walk in very openly and confidently. And Kuchiyo sees us. He's gonna be like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like, this is what we're doing right now is actually really insane. And Tova even told me, like, it's only today when she truly realized how dangerous these interviews are. We interviewed Leia, Eric, Naja, and Andrew, and all 4 of these interviews are chill, low-stakes interviews. But now it's actually absolutely insane what we're actually doing. And the fact that today we got 7 interviews on, more like 6.5, is just testament to how insane and brave we are. Like, what the fuck are wrong with us? So, it's crazy. And given that we are in large numbers, I believe that Dominic and Nick also saw that we were actually really fucking serious and professional about this documentary. We got Theo's verbal consent and interviewed him for 30 minutes, and it was not as good. When Theo ranted me in the car, it was so much more natural and angry, which I want. I know it's like mean, but it's drama. It's good essence. But when I rolled the camera, it was more restrained, which I didn't like, but it's okay. We'll resume the interview. I and Theo was like, okay, I'll be happy to do the interview on another day and resume. And I and Tova were like, sure. Because bad news. Why we have to do this is because Nick also has to leave at 5:30, and the hard out is like 5:45. And Nick and his girlfriend has to go to a family party or something. And I would rather have a Theo part 2 than a Nick part 2, because I know Theo has tons and tons and tons to say. And it's not even a good idea to only do Theo today, because the sun's going to set anyways, and it's going to ruin the lighting and everything. So, anyways, Theo's over, we said goodbye, and then it's Dominic and Nick, and we move to a different spot. It's also really hot, and the Caton Center is closed. Every single buildings are closed, so we can only do it outside, which was a little bit inconvenient. It has a lot of noise. It wasn't great. But anyways, we interviewed Nick and Dominic for about half an hour, and we basically sped through all the questions with Nick. And yeah, again, maybe it's because Nick and Dominic are both quiet people, but they were both kind of restrained. But I did end up asking some really good questions to get Nick pretty fired up, and Dominic gave some really funny reactions. So that's that. Nick's gone, and then it's Dominic only. And then right after Nick's gone, Naja immediately showed up, and with a shotgun mic, and that made the whole thing sound a lot better. And then we continued the interview for about an hour with Dominic. And again, it's great. And the interview with Dominic, I realized that I usually prepare questions, but because I've been busy in the last couple of days, I didn't prepare questions for Theo, which is crazy because I should have. And for Dominic and Nick, I prepared questions, but it's only like a few. And so for Dominic, it was like, yeah, you know, the fight with Liana, the cuts and the bruises, like just like the blue gel scene 24, that's it. But I managed to expand on it so much and actually dug a lot of interesting stuff out of Dominic. So Dominic, when I mentioned injuries, Dominic showed his left arm, like not forearm, this one, the thicker one. Apparently he burned himself with a hot light, and it was like a second-degree burn, but he was so stressed out about the shoot that he just ignored it, and it was on the church day. It's fucking crazy. I didn't even know that, and he just showed it, the scar, to the camera, and that was such an insane moment. And then another moment is I wanted him to talk about his fight with Liana, but I don't want to just say, how about your fight with Liana? It's too direct. I want to get him to mention it. And that was such a great success because I was like, I heard the team and some other departments had some troubles. And he just naturally mentioned his fight with Liana. And both Tova and Naja were like shocked. Another moment that sort of shocked Tova and I was when Theo talked about how he was actually one of the people who suggested to Cruccio that Carly should be the director. What? So it was really weird and complicated. But anyways, back to Dominic. But even though Dominic said some really interesting stuff, even so, it feels restrained. Because when I turn the camera off, he's so much more smooth and natural, and I want that energy. So I tried to subtly ask Naja about the shoot, and Naja's like confused, like, wait, you're asking me? And I'm only doing that to throw things off so that it could be more lighthearted, and I think it really worked, because after that, Naja started to speak randomly and became one of the three interviewers. Like, I and Tova are interviewers, but Naja somehow became the third, which added more dynamic, and it would go back and forth. It feels more like a chat. Also, me, Tova, and Naja were standing up the whole time, and then I realized that us three standing up versus Dominic sitting down is just not good. It's just like we're interrogating him. So all three of us sat down, naturally, instinctively. Tova sat down first, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do too. It felt way better. But yeah, and again, I get it, because Dominic doesn't want to stir up drama. Nobody does. But one stellar moment was when we ended the interview with, what's your best memory of this class? And Dominic's like, I don't know. And Dominic usually doesn't say I don't know. When he says I don't know, he truly doesn't know. And he just said the whole thing was a blur, and that it was invaluable. Like, the whole thing just felt like a blur. Nothing stood out. And to Tova, to quote Tova, she said, "That's a very haunting answer," because throughout the whole shoot, Dominic did so much to move the lights, did so much heavy work, underwent so much stress, and at the end, it was nothing but a blur. And that's sad and haunting. And then afterwards, of course, because Naja and Tova are close friends, it happened yesterday, it's gonna happen again today. Us and Dominic stood outside of the parking structure near the humanities building, and we stood there for like a whole hour just talking. But I'm fine because this time I'm not really in a hurry to go home. But we just stood and we just talked and talked and talked for a whole hour. We talked about Tyler's shoot, and then previously the shoot by the other professor, where they were in the desert, A Sense of Dread. And when they talked about Tyler, speak of the devil, Tyler DMs me. Because earlier today, I DM'd Tyler and asked him, like, so, do you need my help then? Can I be scripty? And Tyler finally responded saying, oh, the producers hadn't responded yet, but, yeah, probably not, because too many people are coming for Crafty. And I don't know what that means. And then Naja said, oh, that probably means there are too many people to feed. And I'm like, okay. And then I told like Tyler, like, oh, but in the future, if you need help, I'm totally down to help. And Tyler's like, oh, 100%. So, okay, it's all cool. It's a little sad, but it's all cool. Tyler did say that he wants to do weekly shoots. And I'm like, okay. So again, even though it's sad that I'm being excluded and stuff, but by doing these interviews and by DMing people, literally, I still got a foot into the door. Maybe Andrew's going to invite me. Maybe Tyler's going to invite me to a shoot. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. So even though Film 33 made me lose everything, but given my social power, suddenly I actually haven't lost everything. I can regain power, which is, I wouldn't say power even, I would just say I would regain the benefits. So it's actually not that bad. Yeah, and then finally, yeah, we talked and talked. Dominic left, and we continued to talk. We just talked about shit, and I kind of wanted to leave, but you know what? I'll just let them be. And then at the end, I and Tova walked to her car, and then he drove to Whole Foods, and then he went back, and then he drove me back home, and that's it. And Tova talked about how she was really in mental distress like throughout May and June, and how she would have panic attacks and anxiety attacks and depressive episodes, and she would cry constantly, and I really didn't see it coming, but also, yeah, sort of, I mean, everyone's fucking haywired after the shoot. I can totally understand that. And I also told Tova about how I cried, and most of the reason is because of Leslie, and it's really weird. And then in the car, or I think right before it, Michelle texted me because she was on a call with Betsy, and Betsy had more tea about Cliff, saying that Cliff fucked up and Ebony's gonna yell at Cliff. It's really weird. And then all at the same time, Cliff texted me about Oppenheimer IMAX tickets. And then all at the same time, I was talking to Tova about Betsy and how there's Film 33 drama for the next Film 33, and how Betsy's talking to Michelle and Michelle's talking to me, and Cliff is somehow involved. So it's all somehow fucking connected and happening all at once. It's actually pretty fucking scary. This hellfire can never be escaped. Like, I can never escape from this hellfire. And then on the car right before I left and returned home, I told Tova about how Leslie had a crush on Theo, and Tova's like, what? Yeah, like, now that I'm saying it, it sounds ridiculous, but a semester ago it made more sense. But it was such a long distant rumor incident that, like, it didn't happen this semester, not even a lick. Like, Tova didn't see it coming. But I was like, yeah, so that happened. And then, speak of the fucking devil, Leslie DM'd me. For the first time since June 30th, the 2001 Space Odyssey. So remember the Chick-fil-A? I ordered Chick-fil-A and I had to say my name. I said my name is Enoch, and the person thought it's Enel, E-N-E-L, which is new. I've never been called Enel before. And so I was cheeky, joking around. I took a photo of it and I posted it on Instagram saying, my name is Enel, with smiley emojis. And Leslie saw it, liked it, and replied to that Instagram story saying, hi, Enel. And I don't know what the fuck to say back. So I just said hello. And it's like a funny hello, like, hello, but it's just Hello, but it's funny, you know. It's like, hello. It's like, hello. Like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Honestly, again, like, I am mad at Leslie for lying to me for a whole month. And Tova talked about Leslie and it's like, you know, Leslie, she's a young girl. I mean, she's sweet and she's hardworking, but, you know, I get it. She's just normal. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. But also, she lied to me for a whole month. And Tova's like, yeah, you know, I'm so sorry about that. And yeah, again, it would be nice if I and Leslie could stay friends together, but I don't expect it and I don't ask for it. And I low key just expect next entire semester to be, you know, I and Leslie not on good terms forever until we die, and that's it. And yeah, it's whatever. I don't care anymore. Leslie can fuck off. But also, again, like, I haven't truly moved on, have I? I mean, I still think I and Leslie could just talk. Like, there are times I would joke around and I would be like, you know, if Leslie's around, I would still joke around the same. Because the last 2 months of my interaction with Leslie, it's just nothing but drama. And me being insanely in love with her. But what Leslie doesn't see is all my other sides. I can be funny and goofy. I can be very serious. I can be, you know, and that's important to show different sides of you. If you want someone to like you, or if you want to be friends with someone, because I do that with Michelle. I show her my angry, sad, emotional side. I show Michelle my artistic side. I show Michelle how stupid I am sometimes. And that made me feel more real as a human being. And that built trust. And I just thought, if only I could do that with Leslie. You know. So yeah, speak of the devil. But yeah, goddamn, these interviews are going strong, and I and Tova, fuck yeah, baby, we are the resistance. We are the resistance, baby. We are. All right, time now is 2:17 p.m. I have 10 minutes left on my storage space. This is gonna be fun. So, I slept from 4:20 to like 2. Yeah. Yeah, it sucks that I couldn't sleep earlier. I was so fucking sleepy. I actually fell asleep like 3 times by the end of the movie, Manila and the Claws of Light. So yeah. And I also decided not to go to church today. Maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have, but thank God I don't, because I got time to sleep. So today hopefully is a chill day. The last 2 days so much has happened, I need a break again. I'm going to go to Ralph's desperately because I've truly ran out of every single food ever. No more vegetables, no more meats, no more grains. I literally have 0 things. So I definitely need to go to Ralph's today. I also need to do chores. Maybe I'll bleach the shower place. Maybe I will mop the floor. I think I'll bleach the shower place. I have a couple very important emails to send. One for my copyrighted song for my short film, and the other is to reply to the math lab. I've been planning to respond 2 days ago, but I was too tired to do that. But anyways, today should be okay. And then yeah, that's it for today. Chill, not much. And yeah, not much. But I don't know, even though I feel like I'm out of the game, like the CMD, But because of all these interviews that I'm doing, I feel like I'm somehow still in it, and the fact that I'm going back. Um, so I don't know. I low key, even though the last few weeks have been nothing but emotional trauma, I just feel like that maybe for some reason, given that there are nothing restraining me in the next semester, I feel like I can just go all off. I feel like I will actually achieve true happiness because nothing's holding me back and I am truly living my villainous lifestyle. Um, yeah. Yeah, I got nothing else to add. I'm gonna eat some peanut butter toast with a banana. And then I'll go to Ralph's, and I think that's it. Again, Leslie's DM. I don't want to think about her. If she wants to talk to me, fine. If she doesn't, fine. I mean, I feel like if um I wanna what was I gonna say? Yeah, whenever I socialize with people, I think it's because my social skills have gotten way better, but also B, it's LA and everyone's nicer. It's really easy, and I always talk to people and joke around and laugh around, and everything manages to work out fine. And I would just think, oh, I wish Leslie's here to see that I'm not all dramatic and crybaby. But yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. I think that's like my quote, not my quote, but like the the tagline of next semester. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters. Just do what I feel like is right. Just fuck it all. And I think that's actually a pretty good mentality. Okay, just got back from Ralph's. Thomas is literally right outside. Okay, tortellini, salad kit. We got steak. Got rockfish. Never tried this before. Only one way to find out if it's good or not. Extremely overpriced chicken thighs. Krispy Kreme donuts. Two zucchinis. Box of spinach. Two apples. Salad box. Pepsi. Small potatoes. Snickers. Yogurt. $78. Yes. All right, time now is 12:46 after midnight. Let's quickly do this. So, yeah, today has been another interesting day. As much as I'd like to try to avoid as much as I try to avoid anything crazy or weird to happen, somehow weirdness finds itself to me. So today the plan is I'm gonna go to Ralph's, come back home. That's it, easy peasy. But the situation got a little complicated when Thomas randomly called me 3 times. Once to ask me about the shot list. He has no idea what the fuck is he doing with the shot list. And the second time he asked me if he could use my laundry. So because he wanted to do laundry in his apartment, because American moment, so he has to do laundry outside of his apartment, in some public laundry place in the building, and he has to pay like $10 to do 2 loads of clothes. I can do it for free. And yeah, so he's like, this is gonna be a weird question, but can I use your laundry? And I thought about it for a while, but I'm like, fine. So I said I'm gonna go to a grocery store later, and I tried to make up an excuse. I said, oh, but I'm washing my clothes now, which is true. I was washing my clothes. So I told him I'm going to Ralph's, and then I'll come back. Maybe you can drive me back, and then we can do it. And he's like, sure. So me, a shirt, pants, phone, wallet, 3 plastic bags, earbuds, went out. And then I realized I forgot $1 in cash. So I have to wait for a big blue bus. And instead of the metro bus. On the metro bus, I can't use the I forgot the name of the fucking app. Name of the app? Oh, what the fuck was the name of the app? I somehow forgot randomly. It was the green app. I couldn't buy online the bus ticket and show it to the bus driver. I do that for the big blue bus, but I can't do that for metro bus. For the metro bus, I have to pay $1 in cash. I don't have $1, so I need to wait 22 minutes for the next big blue bus. So that's fucking stupid. So I'm like, okay, how about this? Thomas, can you drive me? So Thomas like, yeah, sure. So Thomas came and drove me to Ralph's. I bought shit tons of food, a lot of meat, lots of veggies, lots of starch. And then came back, and it was a little awkward because right before I was going to leave, I filmed a review actually. Right before the review, my roommates came back, the white woman, Candace, and her Colombian boyfriend, Michael. They came back and just started cooking at around, I think, 4 p.m.-ish. And they spent 5 fucking hours cooking. I don't know what the fuck were they cooking, but the whole kitchen, they dominated the whole thing. It smelled like vinegar. It's very sour. And I was going to have a tiny lunch. But I just couldn't because I can't cook. I was gonna make myself some dumplings and just call it a day, but holy shit, I just could not. So I had to starve myself, thanks to my roommates. And they also did some weird shit, like they clogged the sink or something. Yeah, so anyways, when we came back, I told Thomas, hey, it's gonna be awkward. My roommates are gonna be here and I never talked to them. So turns out he's even more awkward than me. He didn't make a fucking noise, and he decided to hide in my room the whole time. I was hesitant about it because my room is a very sacred place and only so few people can come, which is crazy. I never thought that I would ever let Thomas into my own apartment. Let me think. So the first person to ever come to my apartment is Jonah, obviously. But I think it's Potter came. Potter's the first person to ever come. Zara came. And then Retablo and his friend, and then Thomas is the next person to have come. So it's really crazy. I am even like, I just wore this. I changed my clothes, and I have one chair, and that's it. And Thomas just sat right here. I gave him 2 plastic bags because he's like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just immediately take my clothes out of the washer. I'll go back home and I'll do my laundry there. This is too awkward. Unless I can stay in your room. And I'm like, fine, you can stay in my room. So he spent like 3 hours just sitting at this part with his laptop charged to that outlet and just like finished the shot list there. And he was whispering and he's very scared and awkward. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. They can't hear us here. But yeah, it's really fucking funny. So he did ended up, instead of 3 loads of clothes, he washed and dried 2 loads. And at around 11:30 or 10:30, I went out and I cooked myself dinner, and I spent 20 minutes cooking. He's like, I don't believe you. How do you cook that fast? And like, I'll show you. And then I demonstrated. I did chicken breast, boom, not chicken breast, chicken thighs, boom, tortellini, boom. I even made myself 4 dumplings. I was so fucking hungry, I'm gonna die. So I had a huge dinner. Chicken thighs, chicken tortellini with mozzarella cheese, some spinach with sesame salad sauce, can of orange Fanta, and then right before that I had 4 dumplings with some kimchi. I had a fortune cookie as well, so you know. But yeah, that's that. For lunch, I ate a donut, actually. I bought 6 donuts at Ralph's. 6 original glazed donuts. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And after the cooking, the roommates are gone, and we talked outside a little bit. And then he's gone, so that's crazy. And then that's not the only thing that happened today. A couple more things. Red suddenly DM'd me on Discord out of nowhere saying, hey, I'm sorry for not... Hey, so sorry for not getting back to you lately. I feel really bad. Normally, I am available on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, ! So, fuck yeah, baby. Fuck yes. Even though Red said yes before, but I was worried, but holy shit, he said yes. I immediately sent to Tova. Tova was so happy. We cheered. It's amazing. It's awesome. So, that's that. I didn't even need to text Red first. He did it back to me, so. Second of all, I might as well DM Jonathan. So I DM Jonathan on Instagram, and he got back to me pretty fast. He said, oh, sorry, and I was so worried that he's gonna say, ooh, on second thought, I don't think the interview is a good idea. He did not say that. He said, oh, I'm busy on Friday. I have to work on a short film, but I'll let you know when am I free. So at least it's still a yes. So holy cow, holy crap. So that's a huge plus. Getting Jonathan and Red are so important. So, but yeah, while Thomas was sitting there, I edited my YouTube video, but I don't really want him to know I have a YouTube channel. Only Pepper and Potter knows in the universe of LA, and it doesn't really matter that much that they know. But I also don't mind if Thomas knows. It's like, it's not gonna matter at all at this point. But I put on my earphones so that he wouldn't hear. But then later I was editing some of my Japan vlogs and he heard it. And I didn't plug my earphones into the laptop. And he's like, is that a vlog? And I'm like, yeah, who cares? And so that's that. I also showed some of my Film 33 interview footage to Thomas because, again, it doesn't matter at all. It's also so fucking weird. Like, even though Leslie said one thing to me yesterday on Instagram, and it's the first thing he said to me since half a month ago, today Thomas talked about how Leslie had a 1-hour phone call with Thomas yesterday. God, Leslie and phone calls. Thomas and Leslie had a 1-hour phone call yesterday about the script. Apparently, Leslie got back to Thomas really fast and finished the Chinese translations for all the lines in his short film and even gave Thomas some valid feedback. So Leslie's actually taking it seriously, hilariously. I'm not taking any of this seriously, but I'm also helping Thomas out big time. So, I don't know, I still don't want to have anything to do with Leslie anymore. I'm still mad at her. But there's just something about this bittersweet pain of seeing her again and working with her again. It's just, I don't know, man. I just want to fucking move on. I wish I could just go to USC, find a more interesting person, and start a new life. But all this is coming back, and it's... And through Thomas's short film, which is so fucking stupid, but okay. But Thomas really has no idea how pre-production works. I have to school him on this. I have to teach him, and he actually found it really helpful. And yeah, tomorrow will be interesting because... So tomorrow's plan is I'm going to wake up pretty early. Thomas and Miles will go to CMD. Back then, when I say CMD, it's like, oh, home. Now when I say CMD, it's like, fuck, tainted hellfire. So Thomas and Miles will go to CMD, and Miles went to audition for Thomas's main character. Meanwhile, afterwards, Thomas will pick me up, and we'll go back to CMD to have a meeting. Liam will come, and Liana apparently will come, which is so fucking weird, by the way. But me, Liam, Thomas, Liana, and Miles will have a production meeting. And maybe Leslie will be there. I will not be surprised. I will have 10 heart attacks, but it's alright, I guess. The fact that I'm going back to CMD is already a gigantic heart attack. And then we'll have a lunch break. And then we will go location scouting. Liam may not join, but everyone else will join. We'll go location scouting in USC. We'll go location scouting in CMD as well, and that's pretty much it. And USC is my new campus, so hey, it's not that crazy of a thing at this point. So that's pretty crazy. So that's tomorrow. Tomorrow will be another very interesting day. Holy shit. Tiny interesting moment would be Aoba watched How Do You Live, the new Miyazaki film, which is crazy. For 1,100 yen, which is about $7.5 US, and that's about 60 something Hong Kong dollars. It's even cheap for Hong Kong price, extremely cheap for US price, for LA price. But that's crazy. So I DM'd her and I was like, wow, I want to see that film. And he's like, if you're a Miyazaki Hayao fan, yeah, this film will not betray your expectations. And I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. So that's really fun. A small instance. I also spoke with Michelle a little bit. She got herself a new car. And that's pretty much the end of today. We also discussed about Thursday. So on Thursday, I will meet up with her in Westwood and we'll hang out a wee bit. So yeah, this week is going to be another very interesting week. Tomorrow will be interesting. Tuesday, I'll go to USC again to get my bike. Wednesday, nothing. Thursday with Michelle. Friday, potentially interview with Red or Jonathan. And then Saturday will be my meetup with Betsy to see Barbie. So this week will be fucking Act 4, Round 4 has begun. The vengeance of the detective. Vengeance. Vengeance. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm excited all over again. I don't know why, but last week I felt like I was in the bottom. I just felt really fucking bad. And maybe it's because suddenly I have human interactions again. But suddenly it's interesting again. Also not, because all this is under the context of I have nothing left and the world is falling apart. But also not really. This interview is indeed crazy. And again, like, to think that something like this would happen. If I tell myself, like, if, just a year ago, if I tell myself that in the future I will be secretly making this documentary with all the people in my class to take revenge against the professor, I'll be like, I'm fucking crazy. If I tell myself this 5 years ago, I would be like, okay, that's not me, it's impossible. But it is possible. I am doing something. So, yeah, it's insanity. Insanity is real and it's happening. Alright, time now is 10:08 a.m. on July 17th. Woo! So, I slept from 5:15 to 10 a.m. Yes, I've never slept this late before in 2023, so that's a breakthrough. Yeah, I started watching the last 5 episodes of Demon Slayer Season 3 at around like 2 a.m., not knowing, or at around 2:30 a.m., not knowing that it's gonna go this long, and I watched it all the way, and then took a shower and everything, and it's already 5:15, so that's pretty crazy. So I really need to sleep like extremely early tonight. Let's hope I sleep at 4 tonight or something. Please, God, please. So, yeah, today is gonna be a little interesting. Once again, about an hour later, Thomas will show up in my place and pick me up, drive me to CMD, crazy dangerous place. But if I'm with others, right? If I'm with like Thomas and if I'm with others, it would be less awkward, so I don't have to hide and sneak around. But still, we'll go back to CMD. Interesting place to, I guess, have a meeting or something. I don't know. And then we'll have a lunch break, and then we'll go location scouting. So that's gonna be fun and interesting, I guess. I should woke up at 9:30, but I went back to sleep for a half more hour. But anyways, there's that. Yeah, nothing else. I will continue my house search. I realized that I have 1 month left to do my apartment search actually, because I've been procrastinating so much. And then I will also film a review before I leave, and then I will the rest of the week is pretty fucking insane actually. Tomorrow I'll be going to USC again to fetch a bike. Wednesday I may have to wake up early to interview Red. Thursday I'll hang out with Michelle. Friday what's Friday again? I may interview Jonathan, or maybe if that's not the case, then I'll just have a rest day. Quite nice. Saturday, I'll go watch Barbie with Betsy. Sunday, I'll go to church. So yeah, this week will be fun. And then not much else. I dreamed about Leslie. I was at CMD, except it's not CMD. It's some weird tall building. And it went from a floor like somewhere high and it went somewhere low in the building. And there was this handsome guy. I've never seen this guy before, but he was playing with some rubber bands, some strings on their fingers, and Leslie, being all funny and cutesy, grabbed him by the hand and played with his rubber bands. But I was also there and I was playing with it first, so I and Leslie were playing with this guy's rubber bands on his fingers, and I touched Leslie's finger, and it's like, oh, physical contact. Oh, I don't know. I feel really close to her in the dream, and it's just, I don't know. And I know I'll probably run into her today, and I'm gonna have 19 heart attacks. So, yeah. But yeah, such is life. I don't know. It is what it is. Again, I'll go to USC. I'll find someone more interesting, and I'll move on. It will happen. I'm not 100% confident it'll happen, but if that doesn't happen, then nothing else will happen. So, yeah, it is what it is.
I don't think they check.
Oh, they're not. Oh, what? They're not here? No way.
As to who I want. Also, my computer's about to die. We need to go to an outlet.
Yeah. That's the best possible location. What the hell is this? See the bigger picture. We're getting invaded by UCLA. Holy shit.
Yeah, do you want to do it?
I'm bad at this, no.
Well, I have two of them. But...
Wait, let's test it out.
Is you don't need to go for that many tickets.
Rice and
I'm taking note of what she's been saying.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Where? So we do one meal for the entire day? For one meal each day, right?
so it's like.
I mean, if you want to repeat, sure.
Oh no,
I don't
like,
mind.
Like for example, no, I guess what I'm trying to say is like each day.
No, screw you.
Screw me. No, not like through there. But you can see the skyscraper.
You got those ley lines.
Yeah, this is probably too loud.
It's too loud.
Unless we film from over.
Oh, look at this classroom.
That one is too loud.
high level IB classes of 5, 6, or 7, I believe. So that's just more motivation to study for your AP classes. Which someone had like reminded me of that again.
Look up here. And then art department went in and then painted it. So yeah, when you end up in this program.
Alright, time now is 7:56, and yeah, so let's talk a little bit about today. It's definitely a very interesting day. I wouldn't say it's very eventful, and it puts things in a weird perspective. But anyways, today I got picked up by Thomas and went to CMD. Miles was in the car. I didn't recognize him at first because he just let his facial hair grow out. I thought to myself, who is this grown-ass man? Turns out it's Miles, who's probably the same age as me. And so we arrived at CMD, and Liam was there, and me, Miles, Liam. It was pretty scary. Like, my PTSD came back when I arrived at CMD. And it's Liam's first time to be back since the end of Ends and Means, and it's pretty huge for him. So Liam had this crazy master plan idea of using ChatGPT or whatever AI to generate some fake script. It's not a script, it's more like a treatment of using Professor Cuccio, Professor Antonio's names, and then throwing in other stuff like Thanos and Margot Robbie as Barbie and Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer and all that jazz, and Voldemort and Quentin Tarantino and a bunch of other characters, and it becomes a whole movie treatment. And he printed 3 of those, and so he wanted to go around CMD to plant them around, and I legit laughed. I thought it was really funny, and I wanted to help him plant them around. And so after we went in, we started to, we found a spot where we could look through some auditions and do a little production meeting. And then I and Liam, and then Thomas left for a little bit to pick up Liana. And Liana actually fucking came. It's crazy how Thomas and Liana ended up working together. Like, this is like unforeseeable. This is really fucking weird. But it's actually happening, and it's the craziest thing ever. Liam with Miles and Liana working on a project. This is so strange. It's the most off-kiltered, strange set of people you could ever imagine. And it's really weird. And the thing is, I know all of them. Liana I'm not too close with, but yeah, it's really strange. But anyways, at some point, I and Liam really went around to plan scripts. We went down and Liam slid a script under the door into the green room, which was very funny. Until I got paranoid and I was like, hold on, there are security cameras. They could immediately find out who it is. So we went back to see. Well, at this point, we're already fucked because it saw us. But I still wanted to go on with the mission. It's just that I don't want the security cameras to see us. So a little bit later, after some production meeting, Liam and I, just the both of us, went down to somewhere near Professor Cuccio's office. There's a Corsair, the newspaper organization of the college, and we slid a script down there. And that took a little while because I had to avoid the security camera, but truth be told, I think the security camera saw me, and I was the one who did the dirty deed. And then the last one, we just simply hid it in a pile of decorative papers that are decorations. Nobody will ever touch them. It'll take them forever to find out that there's one there. So, yeah, like, even though it's at that moment it's really funny, you know, a few hours later, thinking back, I probably shouldn't have done it. Now, Liam doing it is fine, because Liam doesn't even study in this college anymore. But I will have to study for one more semester. So I am scared a little bit. But also at the same time, I shouldn't be, because again, I should go all out. I know this is really fucking stupid, but I shouldn't even be scared because again, I have nothing to lose other than my friends and my visa. I have nothing to lose, so I should just go all out and start trolling. But it's just that it's a little too early. The next semester hasn't even begun. I'll cause chaos once next semester has begun, you know. Let's be a little, restful right now. But it is what it is. It happened already. If I do get caught, I'll just put the blame on Liam. Liam made me do it. I thought it was funny. So, yeah, back to a production meeting with Thomas, Miles, Liana, and Liam. At that point, I got the role of producer, and there are also several producers, but I'm like one of the producers, and I had to treat this very seriously. But Liana treated it even more seriously, and I get the feeling that Liana thinks I'm very unserious, and so does she think of Liam. So I really like showed off. I put my input like, okay, first of all, color code the character names, color code this, color code that, make a table. Okay, day 1, okay, blah 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 blah, and I jot notes. And it's so funny because originally it's supposed to be a stupid little short film, but when Liana's here and we got serious, it got blown out to a point of, okay, this is really serious. Who's gonna be the second AD? Who's gonna be gaffer? 12-hour turnaround. Lunch exactly at the 6th hour. And it just becomes ultra serious, and I don't think Thomas even was able to predict that. All at the same time, I and Liam were wondering when will Benny and Carly come. Turns out they weren't here. We sneaked outside of Crucio's office a couple times, but Crucio should be here theoretically, but he's not. We didn't see him. And Drew and Leslie aren't here. Apparently, they will only be here on Fridays and Saturdays. So it's kind of a weird conundrum. But Cliff did show up. So I asked Cliff if he had bought the Oppenheimer IMAX tickets, and he's like, no, not yet. So I'm like, fine, I'll buy it. So I bought 4 tickets because Miles heard me and Miles wanted to join. So I'm like, 4 tickets. And it's actually a really great political event again because Ken will be meeting Cliff and Miles, and Ken will be needing some allies going into Film 33. So I think this is a really good thing for Ken. I told Ken about it, I told Miles about it, I told Cliff about it. I had it all done. So on July 31st, we'll see Oppenheimer together, which is going to be extremely fun and interesting. Now, next thing you know, it is, Liam left. And so that's the first half of the day, I guess. Then I and Miles were hungry as fuck. So we wanted to go somewhere to eat. But Miles is also gluten and lactose intolerance, so we had to go somewhere weird. And at the end, that veggie grill place that we wanted to go to, the parking situation is bad, so what happens instead is Thomas drove us to Miles' place. Miles quickly grabbed his camera, and then we hopped onto Thomas' car again, and Thomas drove us to USC, where we began to location scouting. We saw Cliff, right? I saw Cliff. Cliff was like DM'd me and was like, oh, by the way, I'm heading over to CMD now. And then later I saw him, and he was holding like a cup of coffee and like some sandwich or croissant or whatever in a paper bag. I don't know what's in it, but it's from the cafe. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm editing WoW. And I'm like, I thought WoW is picture locked. And he's like, I don't, it's not picture locked again. Apparently not again. And I'm like, it's picture unlocked. And that was really funny. Only in this college when an editing project gets picture unlocked and he has to do more editing. So that's funny as fuck. Okay, anyways, back to the present day, present time. Thomas drove us to USC, and Liam is gone, so it's me, Thomas, Miles, and Liana, director, producer, DP, first AD. And again, it feels weird to be producer. It's such a highly prestigious role. To be fair, director, in my mind, I think director is the highest position. But in this world, under the context of this college, producer is truly the highest position. So it's like weird. I suddenly feel like I have a lot of responsibility, but then at the same time, I want to be chill about things. So we arrived at USC and I talked about, okay, again, budget, catering, services, location list, casting. I went over it with Thomas and I think I did a good job. I think Liana and Miles were also saw that, hey, this guy knows his shit. We arrived at USC and we went to a Trader Joe's and I got myself a chicken wrap. It's really cheap, like $4.9. Thomas paid for me and the wrap is mid as fuck and it's also cold. Then I got orange juice, but you know what? It filled me up and I was ready to move on. And it was extremely hot. It was so hot, I was sweating, my skin was scorching. It was pretty fucking bad. And we essentially spent maybe a couple hours, I think 3 hours, just hopping around different buildings in USC. And that made me realize that USC is actually really fucking big. And also really beautiful. There's so many different buildings, the anthropology building, the archaeology building, the fucking neuroscience building, the visual arts building. Every building has its own thing and it's actually quite beautiful and awesome. And it's crazy that this is going to be my campus. So I was actually grateful that USC accepted me. I think it's huge. So there's that. Took a bunch of photos. Again, it's really weird. Me, Miles, and Thomas, we were together, like talk a lot together. And then Liana was left behind a little bit. Of course, the hot Russian girls gets left behind, but that's because we barely know her. But yeah, it wasn't until very late into the location scouting session when Liana found out that she's the first AD and Miles is the DP and I'm a producer. So that's really fucking weird. But yeah, after that, Thomas dropped everyone off and that's it. And yeah, that's pretty much it overall today. It wasn't as interesting as I thought it would be, but I think, still did a lot of stuff, still did a lot of interesting stuff. I sweated a ton. And I came home and I immediately took a shower and I decided to go to bed, do a re-sleep. I was so tired, but of course I did not fall asleep at all. I think I was on my bed, just laying on my bed from 5:30 to 7 p.m. It's impressive that I can just lay on my bed for like 1.5 hours without falling asleep. It was nice, but shortly after I went onto my bed, someone turned off the aircon and everything, and so, never got to sleep. One very interesting thing I would like to mention, though, two actually, is one, while at CMD, I saw I saw Miles texting Ebony, the old Black Chinese woman with a cane. She was talking about Cliff. I saw some text messages and I saw that Ebony talked about Cliff and how Cliff messed up. Yeah, so that's really weird. So that's more drama. Also, earlier today, Miles, I and Liam talked about, the big guy. And Miles like, who's the big guy? And Miles like, it always feels weird if people say inside jokes and they don't let me know. So I'm like, big guy, you'll know next semester. And when I said that, Miles realized that, it's about Film 33. It's Cuchillo. And then Liam's like, Miles, you will not survive or something. And Miles was like, I don't think so. I think with emotional maturity and passion, I will survive or something like that. And Liam started laughing like, this guy has no idea. And that's true. Film 33, no matter how good you are of a person, it's always going to be full of blood. Me personally, I did not climb to the top, but I feel like I did a good job overall climbing the ladder. I feel like I did a pretty good job overall. So that's that. And then another interesting instance is very late, right before we left USC, Liana asked me, and she asked me first, because she trusts me. She asked me if I want a PA for Jordan's short. So more and more short films are happening. Jordan, from Wednesday Film 32, he's going to be in 33 next. He is making a short film called Keys. And of course, if it's Jordan, a bunch of fucking same people are going to show up. Benny and Ariel, Leslie and Cliff, Alex, I wouldn't be surprised if Alex the fucking Brazilian shows up. So Liana asked me if I want a PA. I know lowest position, but I don't care. I just want to hang out with people. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So that's that. And then she also asked Thomas a little bit later. But it's crazy because 1 week ago I was cynical, hateful, sad, thinking that I'm out of the loop and people are not including me in things anymore, and I fucking lost it. But honestly though, because I'm still friends with Thomas, and Thomas had the stupid audacity to text Liana. Liana said yes to helping out with Thomas's project, and then Liana saw me, and Liana is connecting me back to the main group, to the main popular group, all over again. So honestly, it's different. Is it? It's different. Back in Hong Kong, once I'm out of the group, I'm out of the group because I just have that little connections. But my soul connection with Thomas still managed to get me somewhere. And I'm sort of back in the game again. Not back in the game, more like back in the loop. And another thing is I reposted a meme on Instagram to my Instagram story, and Leslie liked it. And I know Leslie usually likes all of my Instagram stories because I just have that much riz. God, I love her so much, but also fuck her. But lately, she's been liking my Instagram stories extremely rarely because we hate each other somehow for some reason. She only likes my Instagram stories if there's a cat in it. And that only happened twice after the phone call breakup. And then yesterday, she liked my story because of the because of Chick-fil-A. That was 2 days ago. And then today, this. Which is weird. She's liking my stories a little bit more frequently now. But it's a meme about how I'm not actually sad. Like, sorry for sad posting. I actually don't get sad in real life. It's all ironic. And Cliff and Ariel also liked it. All the big people. Holy fuck. I'm still kind of in the game. And then I told Liam about... Just gave him a little taste. Liam realized that I still hold extreme amounts of power. Like... At the end of the day, I'm still pretty fucking powerful if you think about it, because I'm close with Cliff. I am not that close to Ariel, but I know her, and she's in this position partially because of me. I was in the production team of Ends and Means. I know the higher-ups. And I used to know Leslie. Used to, I guess. And I know Betsy. I'm pretty fucking powerful. I talked to Cliff, and after I left, I told Liam, oh, Cliff has no idea the danger he's in. And Liam laughed. But I wasn't just referring to Film 33. I was referring to this weird incident where, again, a higher-up told Betsy to look after Cliff. And I'm going to meet Betsy. But I didn't name drop Betsy. I just said, oh, a very powerful student. And I said I'll be meeting her very soon, in a few days. And then I realized, holy shit, I am already moving like a chess piece. I'm playing chess games right now. I'm on the move. And even though it feels like I'm relaxing, I'm chilling in my room doing nothing, but in actuality, with these interviews that I'm doing with Thomas's short film, I'm on the fucking move still. I am still gaming like a detective. So it's absolutely insane. So that's that. And again, me bringing Ken and Cliff and Miles together, Cliff and Miles know each other, but me bringing Ken to them is like a good thing. I hope Ken finds allies so that they can survive together. So, yeah. Yeah. One final interesting instance is at USC when we entered SCA, I ran into Xiao Bong and Arabella, the sound mixer and boom operators of the John L. short film. I ran into them. I took off my sunglasses and I'm like, hey. And she's like, oh, Ina. And Thomas and Miles and Liana were there. And they joked around and it's like, ooh, see, I have connection to USC already. And they're pretty impressed. So, you know, I'm gaming. I'm gaming so hard, guys. I'm gaming so hard. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, one final thing. Fucking crazy. Math lab tutor teacher emailed me back. Things I need to do. And I emailed her back saying, I'm wondering if you have asked that if I qualify for financial aid or not. And she said, you do not qualify for financial aid because you're an international student. But can you come by tomorrow to do SSN with me, which is Social Security number? So that's weird. If I don't qualify and I don't have the job, then why do I still have to go to get Social Security number? Like why? So it's really weird. But either way, I have to process through a financial aid office. They will find out that I'm not a full-time student and they will deny me. So, and Liana was in the car when she heard this, and Liana's like, you know, I work at the International Education Center, right? And I was gonna say something rash like, oh, I'm just gonna find a job illegally, but literally the chick who works at the International Education Center is literally right there. So let's not let her know. Yeah, there's still, even though it's fucking awesome that math lab tutor, I got the job, but I may still lose the job. It's still a possibility, a very high possibility. So honestly, there are many ways to go around this. I can do CPT, find an internship, but that's also probably pretty annoying. I can also do private tutoring illegally, which I really want to do. I want to do private tutoring in general, because that's a job that really suits me. I like talking to people. And then if not, I can still do it the old tried and true way, which is after I move, I'm going to find a new well and work there. But that's the plan. So yeah, hopefully Red responds, and if Red says yes to this Wednesday at 9 a.m., we can do the interview with Red, and then afterwards I can do the SSN with Math Lab. And then tomorrow I'm gonna go to USC again to get my bike, and Thomas can drive me there, because at some point Miles is also working on some USC graduate thesis short films. We went to SCA, and Miles went to a soundstage and was like, hey, is this shoot for the thing? And they're like, yeah. And Miles like, oh, I'm PAing tomorrow or something. And they're like, oh, okay. And Miles like, oh, I know Truman Waller. And when he said that name, I'm like, oh, Truman is like the key grip in Neither Donkey Nor Horse. It's all connected. Holy shit. And it's even crazier. The Hong Kong girl who was Pepper's, alumni, and who went to USC Film, and I follow her, and we PM each other a little bit, the Hong Kong girl. She's also friends with Ikuo, who's the second AD of John L. Short Film. It's all fucking connected, and I'm here to witness it. It's a small, small world, baby. It's a small, small world. And I'm climbing closer and closer to the center, which is wild. Because USC is like so close to the center. It's so close to Hollywood. If I go to USC and I climb the ladder even harder and I don't make any mistakes, I can actually gain so many connections and power. It's actually insane. So, yeah, the game never leaves me. Alright, time now is 12:30 after midnight. I finished dinner quite some time ago. Around 10, I finished dinner, which is a little early than usual. What did I eat again? Steak fried with butter and garlic. Got a cucumber and tomato salad box. Yeah, potatoes, that's it. I realized that it's like July 18th, and it's been nearly a whole month since my breakup with Leslie. And I was just editing my thoughts update video, thinking the part where she broke up with me, and again, quote unquote broke up. She was never with me in the first place. I don't know. I guess I really need to remind myself how much I suffered because of her. Like, I really don't want to fuck with that girl anymore. I really don't want to mess with that girl. And I don't want to say it as if she's like a big bad evil villain. She's not. It's just I just can't she's not she's just not nice. And I really need to remember that. In the last few days, because I've been back in the game, and she's been liking my Instagram stories a couple times, it almost feels like there's a chance we may get back together, but it's an illusion, and I just cannot have that. I just cannot. So, yeah. Not much else actually. I don't have much else to talk about. YouTube is still not showing a lot of my videos to people. The floor is so fucking dirty. The flies are eating up my bananas. I tried to take one off and it broke. Like, instead of, it was 3 bananas, I tried to take one off, but instead it broke the other 2. And it's so fucking stupid. So I'm gonna have to finish off the banana. The flies are eating it. I'm gonna cut off the part that's touching the fly, and I'm gonna still eat the fucking thing because who cares at this point? And then, yeah, that's it. That's it. Really gotta move on with life. And again, it will suck that I'm gonna lose this math lab tutor job. But yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's also very advantageous if I just find a job near my new place, like a new well. Yeah. I don't know.